Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Noble, and today we're going to be doing an updated version of the Cyber Dragon deck profile. So I'm pretty sure everyone and their third cousin knows about Cyber Dragons. This is a very budget-friendly deck. It's got a lot of much needed reprints lately, and it's competitive as crap. This deck is really made, Cyber Dragons, like, they're really made for breaking boards. Infinity by itself is just a really great boss monster, but this deck can really OTK your opponent very quickly. Cards can get very beefy and just smack them in the face in the game. This card can suck up stuff. I mean, it's just awesome. And like, you know, as I always say, huge fan of great artwork. This deck has a lot of awesome artwork. Shiny cards. I'm very attracted to shiny things. So this deck just has it all. So, you know, real quick before we get into this, I just want to mention, if you haven't already done so, now's a perfect time to subscribe. Hit the bell so you become part of the notification team. Give this video a thumbs up. Let's jump right on into this updated Cyber Dragon deck profile. Okay, to start us off, we're going to be playing triple Cyber Dragon, which I'm sure that's just such a shocker to you. I mean, really not much to say about this. You're playing Cyber Dragon deck. You're going to be playing 3 of your Cyber Dragon. That's pretty self-explanatory for the most part, I feel like. If you need help with this one, let me know down in the comments below. But next up, we're going to be playing triple Cyber Dragon Core. This card is absolutely phenomenal. So what Cyber Dragon Core does is when this card is normal summon, you add a Cyber Spell or Trap card from your deck to your hand. That by itself is freaking amazing, and it really boosts the consistency of this deck, being able to search just a whole plethora of stuff, but then also really going into your separate emergency, being able to search that out is really helpful. If your opponent controls a monster, you control no monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 Cyber Dragon monster from your deck. You can only use 1 Cyber Dragon Core effect per turn, and only once that turn, and then this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while it's on the field or in the graveyard. Also, if like the voice, the acoustics sound a little bit different, I'm recording somewhere a little bit different, so I'm not sure. I'm more closer to a wall, so it might sound a little bit weird. Next up, playing triple Cyber Dragon Hers. This one's just great. This card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field in the graveyard. You'll see a trend there. You can only use 1 of the following effects of Cyber Dragon Hers per turn, and only once that turn. If this card is if the card is special summoned, you can make this card's level become 5 until the end of this turn. Also, you cannot special summon monsters the rest of this turn except machine monsters. Wow. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 other Cyber Dragon card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. I'm playing double, I don't know, the caster. I've heard people say all the time, I still don't really know how to say it. This one gets a little controversial. I've seen a lot of people hate this at 3. I've seen people say 1's the sweet spot. I personally like it better at 2, because a lot of times if you've already burned through your first one, you're going to want to use the graveyard effect a little bit later on. You're kind of screwed sometimes, so 2 seems really good to me. What this card does is this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon on the field, and you guessed it, in the graveyard. You can discard 1 other monster special summon this card from your hand. If this card is normal or special summon, you can target a machine monster for 2100 attack or defense in your graveyard. Special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters the rest of this turn except machine monsters. You can only use each effect of Cyber Dragon Master once per turn. Okay, so like I said, absolutely play this with the ratio you want. But 2 just seems really optimal. Again, there's been several times I did try this one. I play tested it, and I just did not like 1 because a lot of times I just wanted, there was opportunity for me to be able to use that effect, that graveyard effect again, and I'd already burned through my first one, and it just, you know, 2 just seems well for me. I like 2, but you know, do what you want to do. It's between you and Jesus. Next up, we're playing 1 Veer. Veer's really cool. I like this one a lot. A lot of people don't play it, but I do. This card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while on the field in the graveyard. You can normal or special summon Cyber Dragon except during the if you normal or special summon Cyber Dragon except during the damage step, excuse me. You can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. You only use this effect Cyber Dragon Veer once per turn, and each Cyber Dragon monster you control gains 500 attack and defense. Moving away from the Cyber Dragon stuff, technically, even though like this is basically a staple in Cyber Dragons, just like it is in Photons. Double Galaxy Soldier. Now this one is also a little controversial. You could run this at 3 if you wanted to max it out. That is absolutely fine. I have done both. Again, just like with Master, I like 2 a little bit better. But you can send 1 other light monster from your hand in the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand in defense position. When this card is special summoned, you can add 1 Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use the effect of Galaxy Soldier once per turn. moving away from like the technical Cyber Dragon stuff. Running double Chaos Dragon Legionnaire. Now this one's kind of cool in this deck, particularly because with Cyberload Fusion being much more available now with that, like it's freaking $1.80 now, which is insane. But with that being more available to the player base now, this card is like seeing a resurgence in this deck, which is really cool because you're able to get this body out in the field and then use your Cyberload Fusion. And Cyberload Fusion also takes stuff from your field or your banish pile as well. So I've actually seen this played at 1 as well, and I tried that. Again, I like 2 is really the sweet spot for me in a lot of places. I like 2. If you're not even taking this, that's fine. You don't have to, but it's just something that it works really well. It has really good synergy with the deck nowadays. I'm also running double Honest. Now this is something that like I cut for a while, but I just missed it. In this deck, especially with all the attack boost that goes on in this deck, man, Honest is just another way to really overwhelm your opponent with all the big machines you're going to be putting out on the board, because they're going to be lights, and like this card, just having this in your hand is just so deadly in this deck. And then for just a few more, just plain triple Draw and Lock. If you know me, you know I love Draw and Lock. I choose this over Ash a lot of times. Ash is extremely versatile, extremely generic. If you want to use that, that's totally fine. But for me, I'd rather, situationally, it depends totally on what's happening in the deck. But a lot of times for me, them getting that one card but then not being able to access anything else for the rest of the turn is just really hindering. So because of that reason, I'm choosing triple Draw and Lock, but completely up to you on what you want to do. So that's actually it for the monsters. Let's move into the spells. So for the spells, I'm playing double triple Tactics Talent. Like I say, when I put any expensive card on screen, you do not have to play this. You absolutely do not have to play this to play Cyber Dragons. I just happen to pull 2, and they're amazing cards, so I'm going to utilize that. This is a very, very powerful card. Again, if you don't have this, do not sweat it, man. You do not need this. It just helps. It helps to pull expensive cards. Next up, playing triple Cyber Emergency. This card, like, I just love the fact that this card is so cheap now. I just love when things that were $30, $40, $50 drop down to like $2. It's amazing. I love it. So Cyber Emergency is like a freaking critical card in this deck. So you add one light machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, or one Cyber Dragon monster from your deck to your hand. If the activation of this card in its owner's possession was negated by your opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can discard one card and add this card to your hand. You can only activate one Cyber Emergency per turn. This card, on top of this looking really great, it just really turbos out the consistency of this deck so much. And it's searchable, which is awesome. Next up, playing triple Machine Duplication. If you don't know what this card does, this card really it allows you to win, basically. So Machine Dupe, you target one machine monster you control with 500 or less attack, special summon up to 2 monsters from your deck with the same name as that face-up monster. You just really turbo out Cyber Dragons with this card. You can just really win really easily if you're able to get the bodies on board. Next up, playing one Cyber Repair Plant. This is another controversial ratio one. Ironically, I've done this one at 1 and 2, and I actually like this one a little bit more at 1, but again, it depends on the Cyber Dragon build. There are a lot of different ones out there. This particular one, I've found that 1 works better for me, but this is a really powerful card, and there really is nothing wrong if you run it at 2 if you want to do so. So what Cyber Repair Plant does is if a Cyber Dragon is in your graveyard, you can activate one of these effects. You can, if you have 3 or more Cyber Dragons in your graveyard at activation, you can activate both effects and resolve in sequence. You only activate one Cyber Repair Plant per turn. You add one light machine monster from your deck to your hand, target one light machine monster in your graveyard, shuffle that target into your deck. And this card is particularly helpful if you're running the machine kaijus as well. Like I definitely, if I was running those like 2 or 3, I would definitely play double Cyber Repair Plant because it just helps you to search into that as well. This card is great. And again, there's nothing wrong playing this at 2. This is a really powerful card. Running one Cyber Rev System. This card is great, and it has a secondary effect that I find a lot of times people forget about. So you special summon a Cyber Dragon from your hand or graveyard, which is really cool by itself because it allows you to special summon something from one of 2 places, and they're going to be in the graveyard a lot of times as well. But the secondary effect is awesome because it cannot be destroyed by card effects. So a lot of times you use this in Monster Reborn or whatever, and put it on the field, and you're just and like they'll go to pop it or something a few minutes later. And you're like, yeah, no, I don't think so. What do you mean? Well, just read Cyber Rev System. And they forget about that all the time. It happens all the time. This is a great card. Anything that special summons from your hand or graveyard and then gives that monster protection, that's a really powerful card. I'm running one limited removal as well. This card is just awesome in any machine deck. Like, a lot of times it's unnecessary, but this card is awesome. It's a quick play spell. You double the attack of all machine monsters you currently control until the end of this turn, and then during the end phase of this turn, destroy the monsters. But don't worry about that. If you're using this card, you probably see that, you know, you're gonna win, so don't worry about it. I'm also running one Cyberload Fusion. Super stoked that this card is so available to the player base now. It was so expensive for so long, and I'm just so happy about it that it's cheap. So it's a quick play spell, and what it does, if you don't know what this card does, you fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck that lists a Cyber Dragon monster as material by shuffling the fusion materials listed on it into the deck from among your cards on the field and or your face-up banished cards, which is what I was talking about loading in here. It has a really good synergy going on there. But monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of this turn except that fusion summon monster. You only activate one Cyberload Fusion per turn. Also running an Overload Fusion as well. Fusion summon one Dark Fusion machine monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your field or graveyard. And then lastly, I'm running one Monster Reborn. I mean, hey, it's a great card. Why not? And then just 3 traps. I'm running triple imperms, 4 traps, excuse me, and also a Cybernetic Overflow. I really like the fact that Imperm has Infinity on it. It just looks, this is awesome in a Cyber Dragon deck. I think it's really fitting. Cybernetic Overflow, I played the ratios of this one once, just I like it better. What it does is you banish Cyber Dragons with different levels from your hand, face-up field, and or graveyard, then destroy an equal number of cards your opponent controls. If this card is on the field, if this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, add one Cyber Spell and Trap card from your deck to your hand, and you only use each effect of Cybernetic Overflow once per turn. A lot of people forget about that search this thing has, and that's really helpful as well. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, of course, we're running a double Cyber Dragon Infinity. So I'm going to read this because there might be some people who don't know what this does. I think most people do. But Cyber Dragon Infinity is just by himself, a standalone, is a really great boss monster. I've run this card in my Photon Galaxy deck. I'm a huge Photon Galaxy player, and I get this out every single game for the most part. I really love this card. Once per turn, well, 3 level 6 light machine monsters. Once per turn, you can also exceed summon Cyber Dragon Infinity by using Cyber Dragon Nova you control as material, and then you transfer the materials from Nova onto Infinity. Once per turn, you can target one face-up. It gains 200 attack for each material attached to it, which is awesome, by the way. But then once per turn, you can target one face-up attack possession monster on the field and attach it to this card as face-up material. So this thing sucks up your opponent's monsters and replenishes its own material. And then it has an Omnigate, to where once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can detach a material from this card, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So gains attack, easy to get out, can suck up your opponent's monster, replenish its own material, and has an Omnigate. This card is freaking fantastic. It is really good. And then, of course, we're running double Cyber Dragon Nova as well. And then I'm also running my last Exceed, one Divine Arsenal Azu Sky Thunder. I really like this card. I use it all the time on Raid Raptors, and I usually use it in something that I have a decent amount of Exceeds in. This deck is really no exception. This card is just super powerful, and you know, just being able to go into it easily. I mean, you can win with this card just super easily. If you don't have it, again, don't worry. It's still an expensive card, and I get that. For the tech mix or whatever the heck you say on the techs, running one Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. This card is awesome. You can win with this card so easily. A fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials. When the card is fusion summoned, you can target spell and traps on the field up to the number of fusion materials used for its fusion summon and destroy them. A lot of times people forget about that. When this thing hits the board, it has a pop-in effect for the back row, and that's really cool. Once per turn, you can send up to 2 light monsters from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, for each monster in this sent to the graveyard, this card gains 1 additional attack during each battle phase's turn. This combined with limited removal, it's like game, man. This thing can really pop off super quickly. Also running one Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon. It cannot be used as fusion material. Must first be special summoned from the extra deck. By sending the above cards from either field to the graveyard, you do not use polymerization. And then the original attack of this card becomes 1,200 times the number of fusion materials used for its summon. One Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, and then also one Cyber Twin Dragon. And then lastly, just some links. I'm running one Almirage is fantastic. I'm not running Anima in this deck. If you do want to run Anima, that is a really good card, especially in this deck. You can absolutely do that. Of course, one Cyber Dragon Seeker. What Seeker does is this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon on the field in the graveyard. During each battle phase, if this card is not declared an attack, quick effect, you can target one machine monster you control 2100 or more attack. For the rest of this turn, that monster gains 2100 attack and defense. Also, neither player takes any battle damage from attacks involving this card. You only use this effect once per turn. Just basically able to beef something up really quickly if you need to is awesome. Also running one Anaconda, one IP Masquerena, one Nightmare Unicorn, and then lastly, one Access Code. Again, you can swap this out for Avermax, Apollosa, anything else, because this is still a very expensive card. But it is also very helpful. So that's actually it for this deck profile, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed it. Again, Cyber Dragons are a very budget deck for the most part. They're really freaking competitive, man. This deck is really meant to break boards and just like knock your opponent out really quick, just like that. There's so many different ways to do it. There's different builds as well. It's just a lot of fun. If you haven't had a chance to play this deck, I really recommend you go pick it up. Like I said, it's not that expensive. It looks great. It's fun. You'll beat your friends with it. They'll hate you. It's just a great time all around. So that's it for the deck profile, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're here and you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe. Now is a perfect time to do so. Hit the bell to become part of the notification team so you don't miss anything that goes on this channel, and give this video a thumbs up. Says, hey Noble, like the video, like your contents, buddy. And it also allows my stuff to circulate around YouTube, and we're getting very close to 3K, which is super exciting. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next video.